Hello everyone, I've got weekly mutation number 25 for you, and that is Fright Night. So in this video, I do have the weekly mutation video, but it's been a while since I've posted a weekly mutation video, and I'm not going to be mainly focusing on the mutation for this video. I'm going to be focusing on the strategy for Abathur. So someone had asked for me to make a video about using mainly the Leviathan and the Brutalisk while playing as Abathur, and using that as your strategy. Well, this mutation is actually pretty easy, and the Leviathan and the Brutalisk strategy actually made this even easier. Now, I was playing with a very good teammate, the Overmind. You guys should go check out his channel. He's very good at playing co-op missions, and he's really good at versus matches, and I'm actually going to be posting a video later of a 2 vs 2 that we played together. But anyway, the point is I'm going to be focusing on the Leviathan and the Brutalisk in this video, and it's going to be my Abathur 2.0 co-op mission video for Abathur. Anyway, it's a very good strategy, and I'm going to read the description to you guys real quick here for the mutation. So, it's a dark and dreary night on Augustgrad. Dominion citizens are knocking on doors and asking for candy. Be sure you have treats to give them, lest you find yourselves the victims of a deadly trick. So there are 2 mutations for the Rift to Korhal co-op mission. Get that started here. Okay, so the first one is Afraid of the Dark. Vision provided by all sources is extremely limited except when in view of your camera. Now that is, wherever you look on the map, you'll have vision as soon as you look there. But the downside is if you look away and your units are focusing on a rock, for example, at your expansion, they're not going to be able to attack that rock unless you're actually looking at that rock. And if there's units that are out of your vision, enemy units, you're not going to be able to attack those units. So that is kind of difficult. And then, of course, there is the candy, the trick-or-treat mutation. So civilians visit your candy bowl looking for treats, which are generated by spending minerals. If no treats are available, the civilians transform into random enemy units. Now, this one can get out of hand if you are not buying the candy and placing them in the bowl. But it's, eventually you'll be able to stock up about 50 candy at a time, and it only costs 25 minerals to create the candy. And you're probably going to have a surplus of minerals. So that one isn't all that risky. You just have to really kind of look back every now and then, make sure you stay on top of it. But yeah, it's not too bad. And once again, you can earn a possible of 185,000 total bonus experience from beating this mission on brutal difficulty. I'm just going to quickly show you my mastery skill points. So I've got everything in Mend Healing for power set 1, everything in Symbiote Carapace Absorption for power set 2, and that's really important if you're going to be using mainly the Leviathan and the Brutalisk. And then in power set 3, I've got everything in Structure, Morph, and Evolution Rate. And we're going to go ahead and get things started. And we are playing with the Overmind once again, so we're going to be able to just hop straight into this co-op mission, mutation, without too long of a delay for getting the game started. And it is on Fright Night. So the main strategy that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go for roaches right from the get-go, and I'm going to try to get Brutalisks. I will end up losing one of my Brutalisks right in the beginning, but eventually I will get those 3 Brutalisks up, and in the meantime, while I'm getting those Brutalisks, I'm going to try and get some Mutalisks out and stock up the biomass for each one of those Mutalisks to get the 3 Leviathans. So we'll have total 3 Brutalisks and 3 Leviathans. So while I'm getting the roaches, I also want to get out some queens. Queens are quite important because they do a lot of the healing for your army, especially since at the beginning when Abathur first came out, Mend Healing used to be decent. The ability you have at the top right there, Mend Healing used to be pretty decent, but really the queens and the biomass healing that, so when a unit attacks, like a roach, if it has 100 biomass, it would get 100% of its health back. It would get that percentage of health back from each hit, but they kind of nerfed that in one of the past updates for Abathur, so it's not as good. It's still a pretty good heal that you get from each attack, but it's not as good as it used to be. So now the Mend Healing you have to focus on more, and you really have to focus on getting those queens because the queens are going to do more of the healing for you now versus that biomass hit, life per hit that you get back from each of your units. So that is why we're going to get those queens out as well. And then just right now we're focusing on getting out drones, of course, and I'm not being very effective because I'm kind of stumbling over what's going on. I'm trying to figure out this first mutation with my vision. So if you could see right there, I was kind of moving out over to the completely black areas, and wherever I moved my camera, I automatically had vision of that area. So I didn't even have to move a unit there. So that, in a way, that's almost kind of a bonus because you can kind of see whatever's on the map. I think you can even take it as far as looking at the enemy's base and you can see whatever's there. But anyway, I'm using that ability to spread my creep with those toxic nests right from the get-go. And now I've got about 19, I've got 19 drones on my supply line, and I'm trying to just pump out a ton more drones, and then I'm going to get some more overlords. I really should have made a couple more roaches because the Overmind or Quasar actually told me that the first wave comes very quickly. And I got one roach out for that because I did drop a couple toxic nests to handle this first wave, but because Nova is so strong, especially with her drones that she can drop down from the sky that protect protect friendly units with shields of about 200 hit points, you basically won't lose any of your units. So I didn't even have to end up using those toxic nests. We were able to clear out this first wave very easily. And Abathur spawns those little locusts after killing an enemy unit. It's a random chance, but Abathur occasionally does spawn those locusts. And like this right here, because that black, the black part on the map, the completely darked out area, I couldn't actually spawn or start morphing in my extractor on that geyser because I didn't have vision of it. So you have to make sure to really get your camera on wherever you're going or wherever you want to build something. So make sure you have vision. What I did find out though is, yeah, like Quasar's just saying now, or the Overmind, like he's saying right now, killing the rocks, if you're not paying attention, your roaches actually, or any type of unit you're using, won't focus on the rocks. So as you see, I just moved my screen away, and all of a sudden my roaches couldn't attack those rocks anymore. So you have to pay attention to it. But what I did notice is, after you destroy the rocks on the expansion, plus on the geysers that are right around the expansion, once you destroy the rocks and then place your hatchery plus extractors on the geysers, and you've got your drones collecting resources, you don't have to pay attention anymore because you have enough vision from all those units being there, I guess, and then you just don't have to focus on the area anymore. So that is a nice perk to have. Okay, and then what I'm going to keep on doing is just keep on massing up these roaches. The Overmind's doing a very good job of clearing out this first objective, the first Void Shard. And Nova is very strong, by the way, but there's a ton of biomass over there, and what I'm going to do is, as soon as I destroy this last rock on this geyser, I'm going to bring over my roach, and then whatever one has the most biomass, it's kind of toward the back left of my army right now, I'm going to make sure that that one starts absorbing all that biomass. Now I'm going to get a little too jumpy, I guess is the right word for it. I'm going to get a little too jumpy, and I'm going to try and start clearing out the next area with the amount of roaches and the Brutalisk that I have, but that definitely is not a good choice. That's why I'm going to lose this first Brutalisk here, because I get a little too confident in the size of my army. Just because you have a Brutalisk does not mean that you're unstoppable. And then as you can see right now, I just bought some more candy for the candy bowl. Like the mutation said, if you don't get that candy, the civilians will transform into enemy units, so you got to be a little careful of that. Okay, I'm going to start transforming my hatchery into a layer, because once the layer is formed or evolved, then I will be able to start getting Brutalisk from the spire. So you can only make a spire after you create a layer. And once I have the spire, then I can create Brutalisk. Now, you can create Leviathans from pretty much any air unit. I think I actually could have done this more effectively. I haven't tried this. Yeah, honestly, I don't even think I've tried this before, but I think you might be able to get, well, shoot, I can't even remember what they're called, but there's a unit from the, after you get the infestation pit, you can get not queens, but infestors, and then one other unit. I wish I remember what it was called, but maybe you guys can post it in the comments for me. Anyways, that unit is able to grab onto units and then drag them back over to the rest of your units. And you don't even need a spire in order to create that unit. You just need the infestation pit. And I'm pretty sure that Abathur actually does have that unit for evolving. So I'm pretty sure you can actually create this unit that I'm thinking of. Anyway, yeah, so we're just going to go with the spire method for now. And I'm not sure how this swarm host got into our base. What I'm thinking is we ran out of candy for a short moment, and then that swarm host spawned from one of those civilians. But as you can see, I mean, the candy bowl is really not causing us a lot of problems right now. So not our biggest worry. And then we've got a wave attacking Quasar's expansion right now, or the Overmind's expansion. And I'm going to make sure to collect all this biomass again. I need to once again focus on my roach that has the most biomass to make sure that that roach is collecting it. I want to get those Brutalisks as soon as possible. I'm a little slow at getting all my Brutalisks right away, but once we start getting rolling, especially once we start attacking the next area where there are void shards, and then the third area where there are void shards, then we're really going to start getting pretty comfortable, and we're going to get more of those Brutalisks out. And I'm really not going to get my Leviathans until right before we really hit the last area that has void shards, where there's 4 void shards in one area. But I will end up maxing out all 3 Leviathans and all 3 Brutalisks at the same time, plus roaches and some queens. And they are very strong. I mean, my army, towards the end, my army's not even going to die. And if you can get this to work on a weekly mutation, I definitely, I really urge you guys to use this strategy, because once it gets going, I mean, it needs to build up steam, but once it gets going, this strategy is quite unstoppable. And it always helps to have Nova, of course. Nova is a great commander. Really enjoy playing as Nova, especially if you go bio. I haven't posted a video for bio strategy yet on Nova, but I will do that soon. So I have tried out Nova with bio, and very good strategy. But as you can see, I just got another Brutalisk out here. Need to be a little bit careful because, like I said, my Brutalisks are not unstoppable, and there's a whole lot of units attacking me right now. I do happen to have about 3 queens though, so they are doing a lot of healing, and it's helping to keep my army alive. And the Overmind just dropped one of his airstrikes that Nova has, so I was able to do a lot of damage, which was very nice. And once again, I'm really focusing on keeping my camera right above where my units are, and whenever I want my units to focus on, I make sure to give them vision by hovering my screen over that area. Like I said before, you're not going to be able to attack anything unless you're hovering right over that area. I think you might actually be able to attack the main objectives without looking at it, though. That might be an exception. And most terrible thing happened right here. So I'm buying a ton of candy. So one of those civilians, or 2 of those civilians, transformed into 2 Zerglings. And look at this. They killed all of my drones at my main base. All of my drones. It was absolutely, it was a really, unobservant move of me. I should not have let that happen. That was really bad. I have 0 drones on my supply line. I've got 1 at the extractor, but I mean, they killed all of my units. It was pretty bad. And I lost my spire. So I have a Brutalisk out, so you can definitely tell that I did have a spire at one point, but they killed it. I guess that's how much I was paying attention. The Overmind's trying to take blame for that, but honestly, that was my fault. I should have been on top of that. Anyway, we do have 1 Brutalisk out now, and we are on our way to getting 2 more Brutalisks quite shortly. We will get our first Leviathan when we start attacking this next area of void shards. And we're just going to wait a second here. We're waiting for Nova to get spawned again. The Overmind accidentally lost her. Beautiful part about Nova is if you lose Nova, you can automatically, not automatically, but you can instantly respawn her in. How that's done is however long your wait time is to respawn her, that's how much minerals you're going to pay. I believe it's in increments of 5 minerals for every second. I think that's how it works. Anyway, It's a very good ability, and just another thing that makes Nova so strong. Alright, so now you can tell one of our roaches is actually getting quite close to that 100 biomass mark. You can really tell when a roach or Brutalisk or any type of unit is just about ready to transform when it starts turning very yellow. So yellow signifies high amounts of biomass. And I had a Brutalisk there that was just about ready to transform into a Leviathan, and I believe what just happened is that Battlecruiser actually used its Yamato cannon on my Brutalisk. So right before it was about to transform, it got just completely wiped off the surface of this planet. So that kind of sucked. Anyway, I do have quite a few more Brutalisks that just spawned in, so they will be a good benefit, a good help. And I will start collecting some more biomass with one of these guys. I'm going to really focus on, like I said before, just collecting the biomass with that one Brutalisk once it starts getting up there. And I think I just said this, but anyway, there are 3 Brutalisks out now. We do have our main 3 Brutalisks, so that's a very good step to be sitting at. One thing I should be getting right now, and I don't think I get it until a little bit later, I'm kind of lacking, but you want to make sure to have detection, of course. You always need detection. And the only thing that can give you detection while playing as Abathur is Overseers. And I'm pretty sure that's for all the Zerg commanders, but like for example Nova, you can get an upgrade at the Ghost Academy that actually allows Nova to have detection just from Nova. Nova is the detection, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, you need to make Overseers, and for those of you who don't know, most of you are going to know, I know, but some of you may not. In order to make Overseers, you need to have an Overlord, and then once you have the Overlord, you need to have a layer tech from your hatchery, and then once you have that, then you just click on an Overlord and you transform it into a Overseer from clicking on the unit. And now I just got one of my Brutalisks, 100 biomass, and now I have my first Leviathan. And we're doing a very good job of clearing this out now. This is actually our first time playing this mutation. That's how easy this weekly mutation was. So I'm definitely not too worried about you guys being able to beat this mutation on brutal difficulty. I definitely think you guys should go out and try it. Just the main thing is keeping your camera where your units are. That's the main thing you got to do. Okay, so I'm throwing down a bunch of toxic nests. The reason I'm throwing down a bunch of toxic nests right in my base is, especially right by the candy bowl actually, is I'm trying to make sure if any units accidentally, well not accidentally, but spawn from that candy bowl from the civilians, if there isn't candy in there, I just want to make sure that they run into those toxic nests and blow up. And potentially, if they blow up from the toxic nests, that they happen to my toxic nests transform whatever unit that gets killed into a locust, and then my locust can actually help defend. And then by that time, while that's all happening, I should be able to get back to my base from the alert notifications letting me know that I'm in trouble. And then I'll be able to save my drones rather than letting them all die like I did at the beginning of this mutation. Oh, and that's another thing. Just to show you guys, how easy this mutation is. I lost all of my drones at my original base. If that happened on a mutation like 22 or 21, I can't remember which one it was, but it was very, very, very difficult mutation. I did about 35 or 40 times. If that happened on that mutation, that would have been it. But this was the very first time through, and I lost all my drones, and it was pretty laid back. I also have to factor in the fact that I'm playing with the Overmind, and Overmind and I, we play pretty well together, and Overmind just overall is very good at playing StarCraft. And we've got Abathur and Nova. Mostly Nova, because Nova's so good. But yeah, Abathur with the Leviathans and the Brutalisks is incredible. Especially once you get to the point where I'm at right now. We've got 2 Leviathans now, plus 3 Brutalisks. So to add to all of this, the Leviathans even have the symbiote carapace, including the Brutalisk. So the symbiote carapace is just adding an extra shield of health. absorbing all that damage before their actual health gets taken away. And they already have a ton of health. So they're just so incredibly strong. It's quite nice. Alright, so now we've got all of this biomass laying around. And I'm just going to go ahead and collect all this biomass with my last Brutalisk. And now I don't need to worry about creating any more Brutalisks. I mean, it's nice to have a couple extra just in case one of your Leviathans die. But we've got the 3 Leviathans, we've got the 3 Brutalisks, and now it's just a matter of stocking up a ton of roaches and a ton of queens. The roaches are there just to do extra damage and to transform into Brutalisk just in case one of your Brutalisks dies. And the queens are there to heal every single unit that you have. And yeah, now it's just a point of focusing down units and making sure your camera is right over the top of whatever you want to destroy. And versus trying to take out the shards right away, what I'm trying to do is just kill any unit that can do damage to me. So I'm making sure to take out the splash damage units first and the really tough units like these hybrids and the battle cruisers and the ravens too. So yeah, just really focusing down these siege tanks, get the battle cruisers there, got the Goliath. I'm going to focus down this planetary fortress. Then I'm going to move back here, take out these Goliaths. There's going to be some air defense turrets up at the top here. I'm going to make sure to take those out. And oh, yep. We actually ran out of candy, but it doesn't really matter because we're doing a very good job. And yeah, there was the last shard. So in the process of taking out all of those units, we ended up killing those shards too. The Overmind did a lot of work, actually. But yeah, so it was quite good combo, Abathur and Nova. And I definitely think that the Leviathan and the Brutalisk method is the way to go if you have enough time to build them, that is. So if you're playing on weekly mutations, definitely use that strategy. Very, very good strategy. You've got the tank, you got the damage. I mean, both the Brutalisk and the Leviathan can attack both air and ground units, so that works out really well. And I mean, all it takes is a couple units. You just got to build roaches or Brutalisks, and you can replenish those units right away. The only struggle is getting to that point. So it takes a little while to actually get those units, but once you have enough steam, as someone told me once you got enough steam with Abathur, you just roll right over everything. So really hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.